Hi all, I'm Elena from the Adaptavis Group, and I'm here today in Madrid to interview Diego from Sngular, a next-generation technology provider based in Spain and an official ScriptRunner certified partner. Let's go with the first question. Today we are deep diving with the Platinum Atlassian solution partner Sngular to understand their philosophical and technological approaches to solving complex customer challenges in the Atlassian ecosystem. Let's start with the philosophy, the mindset. So when you approach a new client, particularly one with fragmented and complex existing setup, what is your initial mindset and how do you begin to understand their core challenges?
Okay, so I would say that our initial mindset, mostly at early stages of the project, is mainly focused on understanding what are the customer needs, what are the business requirements, behind the technological stack, right? So initially we don't go directly to the technical stuff, but we prefer understanding all that and having zooming out a little bit, understanding the big picture and having this holistic view of all the requirements of the customer and their specific needs, right? And it's not that the technical stack is not important, but through our experience we see much more value in getting as early as possible this kind of information, right? So for example, it's much better for us to understand that you guys have some kind of ITSM process implemented in your solution, not only maybe involved in IT, but also human resources, marketing, or for example, if you have some development teams working in the instance, maybe integrating with external solutions, etc. So that gives us much more understanding on the needs, and even more with based on our experience from other customers, we can also add more value and also give recommendations or suggestions into where we can go next, right? And I think that this is particularly important in, as you mentioned, complex or fragmented projects, where we basically our goal is to identify these opportunities in terms of adding value through transformation, right? And I think one great example of this is how we approach to cloud migrations. So in this case, I'm not just talking about data center to cloud, but also from external sources of information into Atlassian platform, that we don't see this kind of project just as a data movement project, but also having the opportunity of asking the customer, I don't know, there are some different stacks that we need to unify, or there are some processes that we need to standardize. We see often customers leading with technical debt that usually lead to high complexity. So trying also to use these migration projects in terms to maybe simplify some of the configurations that they have. So it's all about understanding their situation, understanding their business requirements, and from there trying to implement the best solution possible.
And from a functional perspective, what are the key challenges that you identify often in this transformation, and how do you inform a strategic Sngular approach?
Okay. So in the end, every customer has their own specific requirements, but through year of experience, we somehow recognize some kind of patterns, right? So probably one being to understand what kind of business industry is the customer from. For example, if you work with pharma, financial industries, you usually face that you need to deal with complex regulatory that the companies need to be compliant with. And these usually lead to requirements in terms of having the workflows with super complex configurations, needed also to have full traceability and and being able to do any kind of audit log to extract information of what is happening at any moment, right? Maybe other pattern that we could recognize is, for example, understanding how the organization structure works. So, for example, we have been working with a couple customers recently that, let's say, they don't grow organically, but through acquisition, for example, and mergers of other companies. So this often leads to other kind of requirements, for example, to how we unify all those instances into a single organization, or, for example, how do we standardize the processes that these different companies come with, or, for example, how we also standardize the administration process for this overall solution, right? And finally, probably the most common pattern that we usually see is this technical depth that probably most of the customers have, where different administrators in different time do the job, but there's no like a strict governance process, which usually leads into complex instances, sometimes with messy configurations, maybe duplications of different apps, etc., etc. So, you know, recognizing these kind of patterns is what helps us to understand what kind of challenges are we going to face during the project.
And when you understood those challenges, how you translate these into a technological solution?
Okay. I think that would probably best describe our approaches to always implement and deliver simple but robust solutions that can scale through time. And this is not magic, so it happens because, as I mentioned previously, we do all this assessment work in terms of understanding all the business requirements and the context of the customer. And only when we have like this knowledge of the customer is when we start diving deeper in terms of how we are going to build that solution technically, right? And here, basically, our goal is we aim for a robust set of tools that cover with the requirements that we have seen with the customer, and at the same time enables us to build this approach of simple but robust solution that we can scale through time as well.
So for this migration, you built the new solution with the ScriptRunner for Jira at the core. What was like the thought process behind it?
Okay. So for this particular project, the decision for ScriptRunner was mainly based on unification. So the customer, on the one hand, needed like a unified solution that could handle all the complex around their automation processes. And on the other hand, they came through a data center version where they had like this set of single function apps that in the end cover the whole holistic requirements, but from a operational perspective, in terms of maintenance, in terms of developing new features, it was quite complex, right? So this is why going our proposal going with a ScriptRunner, we thought that it was going to be the best solution for both the unification of these single app functions into one powerful solution that also can bring value to the customer in terms of easy configuration, but powerful implementation of different kind of automations, and also the ability to cope not with just current needs, but also having the certainty of being able to cope with different needs in the future as well.
Can you give us some specific example on how those ScriptRunner features were leveraged, specifically including automation and compliance requirements?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, for example, as you mentioned, this particular instance that belonged to a pharmaceutical industry customer had like these needs in terms to comply with certain regulatory requirements, right? So everything needed to be tracked and audited, and there was like this need for minimizing the human error. So basically what we did was build a set of capabilities around workflows in terms of listeners, validators, conditions, etc. So we make sure that the information that needed to be typed at each level of the flow was properly presented. With fields that were required in certain moments of the workflow, or for example, presenting also some dynamic forms, etc., etc. And also giving the ability to the customer to configure which were the members responsible for each action during the processes, right? So that's one example. Also regarding to these workflows, dynamic forms, there were these particular features around making sure that no new feature was deployed without having like the proper software version typed as well. Or for example, they had like this requirement around they needed to set and to confirm that there was some kind of documentation attached to each feature. So we gave them like the opportunity to, through some dynamic forms based on the requirements of the particular feature, to show or hide different fields in terms of the customer being able to set some URL to the specific documentation in Confluence where the requirement, the specification was properly documented, right? And on the other hand, one key concept was the ability to also cope with integrations. So they had like this BI external solution. And in this case, ScriptRunner helped a lot in terms of merging all the information and coping with the automating the transformation of the data in terms of being able to make an easier ingestion in the target solution.
We have heard about the benefits for your clients, but how does a ScriptRunner benefit you as a Atlassian solution partner?
So, in the end, our services as a solution partner are measured in terms of how well we can cover all the requirements in the customer and how satisfied in the end they are with our services. And I think ScriptRunner here helps a lot because it's a powerful solution that can help us make sure that we can fulfill every need that it's present, but also make sure that in the future, when different needs arise, we have a great solution to help us cover with these requirements, right? And on the other hand, I think this also helps creating a culture of trust. So the customer, we can foster new opportunities in the future with the customer because of the experiences and great services and great solutions that we have been able to build around Atlassian and also with the ScriptRunner and automations.
What kind of customers or which kind of companies do you think would benefit from using ScriptRunner?
Okay, so to be honest, if someone asks me to pick like 3 apps to go to every single customer with every single need, probably ScriptRunner would be one of them, because I think it can fit. And in today's trendy topics, needs of every kind of customer from every kind of industry, I think that automation it's one of the key topics, right? So I think ScriptRunner can find a place in every customer that we can work with. However, if we want to like highlight some like specific patterns that we can recognize in terms of suggesting ScriptRunner, I would mention, for example, customers that natively overcome the limits of automation rules execution. So that won't be one topic. Maybe another one, for example, customers that need like this option of creating dynamic forms. So the customer does not face just as an static form, but the form reacts to what the customer is typing at its moment, right? Another topic would be those customers that have specific requirements in terms of creating conditional workflows, because natively Atlassian works great with actions that happens between after the customer triggers some kind of action, right? But creating that intelligence in terms of not permitting certain customers to perform some action or setting some fields mandatory, etc. It's something that it's great working with ScriptRunner as well. And I think maybe the last point will be integrations. So if there's any particular customer that need to establish an integration, send information from the external source to Jira, and then Jira to respond with certain information as well, I think that ScriptRunner works great in that scenario as well.
What kind of results do the clients see from this kind of overhauls?
I would highlight, for example, the financial aspect. So in this particular scenario, where, as I mentioned previously, we had like different set of solutions, but for a specific concept, ScriptRunner let us unify all that costs in one single solution. So in the end, for this particular customer, there were like more than $10,000 in financial savings every year, and this is just in terms of licenses, right? But also for the operational aspect, or maintaining that solution with much less dependencies from different tools, different providers, also helps a lot in terms of maintaining, adding new features in the future, administering the solution, and that's also transforming in hours saved month by month in the technical team working with the instance, right? And this is not just examples for this particular scenario, but it's like a general trend that we usually see in the customers that we work with, and ScriptRunner usually is involved.
Thank you so much, Diego. It has been a real pleasure.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure for me too.